Welcome to the Honest Hour. I'm your host, Luis Acevedo, and we got quite a bit to talk about today. And then once we get through the topics, we'll let everybody else come in, answer some comments, some questions, things like that. So, the first thing that we're going to start off with is get out of big cities. This is something that I've talked about for a while now, and I think it's very important to do so. So, the example I'm going to provide for you today is in Seattle. Last week we did Portland. This week we're doing Seattle. And so firefighters in Seattle have been attacked 40 times in the last 4 months by homeless people. And the reason they've been attacked by homeless people is because the fires that they go to put out are at the encampment sites for the homeless people. And the city is doing nothing to prevent this whatsoever, despite the firefighters stating, hey, we need you guys to do something. They're climbing all over the trucks, they're throwing rocks, they're trying to stab them, they're doing all kinds of egregious acts. For what reason? I don't know. And yet, those who get arrested are released immediately. So there's like no order in Seattle whatsoever. And that just, makes you ask the question, how long will Seattle have a functional fire department? How long will Seattle and Portland have a functional police department as well? All of these institutions that are there to help society function in a cohesive way and maintain order are going to be destroyed by their own people. And this is exactly what the communists tried to do back in the 60s. And unfortunately, Republicans are falling into the same trap right now with trying to defund the FBI. But anyway, this is what's going on in Seattle. I mean, you can look at Chicago as another example. I mean, Chicago, there's like 30 shootings every weekend. It's insane. I mean, you can just read articles about it every Monday. I see an article every Monday about the amount of pew pew events at Chicago every Monday without fail. These big cities are just, they're falling apart on themselves. And this is typically what happens at the decline of an empire. The big cities, they crumble first. And so we saw a mass exodus during the whole cough and sniffle debacle. And I believe it's only going to get worse, and why people should start moving out of big cities like yesterday. Do everything you can to get out of them because they're not going to get better. I personally think that these cities are going to get so bad that it will be an excuse to use or to implement the smart cities. I think that smart cities will be a tool that they use to bring back order in these huge cities that are crumbling. So, yeah, and just a little fact for you guys. I mean, the homeless rate in Seattle has risen since May as well. I mean, you have 763 in May and then 814 in June. Work to fix the system, not bitch about it, fascist. I'm with you. I'm with you. So, you need to chill out. You got many Russian freaks in your comment. Okay, that's cool. What do you mean by crumbling? I mean that they are failing, that they're turning into degenerate cesspools, and they will start eating themselves. It is becoming unlivable. People are leaving Portland because of how unlivable it is, how unsafe it is for their families. Same thing with Los Angeles. Same thing with Chicago. Same thing with New York City. In New York City, they're telling the bankers that work in New York City not to dress professionally because they run the risk of being assaulted. And yeah, and I think that the homeless rates are going to go up. I think that violence in these areas are going to go up. And this will ultimately lead into what will be called smart cities, I think. So I live in a rural area, always have. Good for you, Lynn. I mean, that's the place to be. I grew up in rural America as well. My parents had about 5 acres of land all my buddies, their families lived. Not all of them, but most of them lived, in small town America. DC has a large portion of homelessness. They do, and homelessness is direct. It's multi-layered problem, and it all comes down to the person. I don't care what you say about economics. It all comes down to the person as to why they're homeless. I love it. Yeah, I love it too. Like, but getting back to that homeless thing, it's like you are caught. I mean, your actions bring consequences, and a lot of times it's drug related, it's alcohol related, it's bad decisions like cheating on a spouse or doing certain crimes or lose even if you lose a job, right? So some people say, "Oh, I lost a job, I can't get a job." I don't believe that. I've been without a job part of my life, and it's very easy to get a job. It's extremely easy to get a job. Um, and then you could say, well, cost of living is going up. Well, move. If the cost of living is outpacing your wages, you can move. It's not very hard to move. People with no money move across the entire world to come to America. They do, fact. So you could move across states, across cities to find a more economically friendly place for you to live. This is just a fact. So homelessness is by and large a choice. And so we are enabling that in the big cities. Not we, but people in big cities. You can say Democrats, I would even say libertarians. I would even say that some Republicans are as well. Did you move out of Seattle? No, I did not. Thank God I've never lived over there. I've always lived in the Midwest. But yeah, so that's what's going on with the cities. I urge everybody to get out of big cities while you can. But now let's move into the next talking point. Now we are going international. I'm from Ohio. Right on, right on. That's actually where I currently live. The middle class is homeless. Okay. When is the war escalating? Well, the war is escalating. I don't know when, but soon because of what took place yesterday. Some of us need public transit, so it's not a good option. Don't have a job within the city. Find something better outside of the city, closer to home. You really grew up in Ohio? No, I did not grow up in Ohio. That's not what I said. So, yesterday in Russia, a Russian thought leader, Alexander Drugin's, I believe is how you pronounce his name, daughter was killed in what is to believe an assassination attempt on his life. Um, and this all happened. I mean, now it's confirmed that it was a car bomb that blew up the Land Cruiser. And so apparently at the last minute, they had switched cars because he was supposed to be in that car that blew up, but they switched cars. And so he was driving behind her in the car that he was supposed to be in. Well, I mean, while she was in the car he was supposed to be in, and he witnessed this take place. And so as he witnessed this take place, I mean, you can just imagine the horror of seeing your children, your child, gone right there instantly. Essentially, is her death was fast, quick, and now the suspects, the number one suspect, obviously, is Ukraine. And Zelensky had warned of a nastier phase of war coming into the world because of this. And I think he's right. But then you also have one of the ministers in Ukraine stating, hey, we are not vicious state terrorists like Russia. And so that to me is is showing that maybe Ukraine's projecting a little bit. Maybe Ukraine is behind this. Maybe, maybe. However, there is another theory that's been floated around that I think is quite interesting. And that other theory is that the CIA is actually behind this. And the reason for that, because I asked the question too, like, why would it be the CIA though? And so I had to think about it a little bit. And I read a couple things as well. And it makes sense to me that for prominent thinkers such as Alexander Drogan, it would be beneficial. Why wouldn't it be the CIA? I don't know. But for thought leaders like Alexander Drogan, said that maybe the CIA sent a message. That's exactly right. That anybody who's pro Russia, as far as influential, and wants, is not rooting for Ukraine, and they're prominent, they have a lot of notoriety, they could be a target. So this could be a tool of uh, dissuasion, like to prevent people from influential people from speaking out against the Ukrainian Russian war, which is also just known as the Russia NATO war, because that's really what it is. Ukraine's just sort of like a proxy. What's going on, Mike Dave? Ukraine is just the proxy soldiers for NATO, for the West in this war. So who knows? Maybe the CIA was behind this. Thoughts on the radical European energy crisis? Yeah, I think it's pretty bad, but I think that the European countries are going to have to cave unless they want their citizens to pull a Sri Lanka on them. They're gonna have to give up on the sanctions because that's why they're in this crisis. They're gonna have to give up the sanctions and get Nord Stream 2 in check. You know, that's what they have to do. Will they do it? Who knows? Who knows how far they're willing to go? But I'm willing to bet that they're going to end the sanctions. I don't know exactly how they're going to control the narrative around it because as soon as they lift the sanctions, everybody knows that Russia won the war. Fact. It's no longer this debated thing. Can't get a fight, a war without fuel. Yeah, Sri Lanka may be a prelude to what's to come if things don't change. Yeah, I mean, Sri Lanka is like an extreme example, but it could be. But I like to, this is, I think Sri Lanka is a good example to look into why societies collapse. If aliens does that mean that there is no God? No, not at all. And it depends on what you mean by alien. In what way is the war in Eastern EU affect USA, missile strikes or terror attacks, Russia, Russian Muslims? Well, it could affect us with energy. What till winter? We should not be militarily involved in UK, Ukraine. I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. Now, what I was going to say with Sri Lanka, and this is, I think, Mike Dave might be onto something that it is a prelude, although I think it's like at a far extreme, is because Sri Lanka, before it economically fell, it was morally fallen. It was morally reprehensible for a long time because their number one industry was tourism, and a specific kind of tourism that involved small boys, if you catch my drift. Um, a lot of known PEDOs went there because of that thing right there. So Sri Lanka was morally corrupt and morally reprehensible for a long time. Morally, it had already fallen. And then what happens? This is why I say that the government is not a bad thing. The government is an external manifestation of our internal worlds. And so as soon as your morality, that's why the government's not evil. These institutions aren't evil. Morality makes them good or evil, but these institutions are tools. So once they become, like that, they're already fallen. They've already lost. I like to look into the Bible for an example of this where I can't remember the exact context of the story or the verse or anything, but something along these lines where the disciples, the apostles rather, were going to face persecution, but one of the Pharisees were like, hang on, guys, if it's from God, it'll withstand. If it's not of God, it'll fall, it'll crumble on its own. All good. And so that's the way I look at it, which is why I don't encourage revolutions. They'll just crumble on their own. But that's why Sri Lanka fell, I would say, is because it became morally uh, reprehensible before the economy went to shambles, before the political structure went to shambles. I think it had to do morally first. And so you apply that to what's taking place now in the West, we're morally reprehensible. Big cities are morally reprehensible. And Russia does have a sense of moral superiority over us, I would say, and I think it's justified. Not saying that I want to live in Russia. I'm not a Russian sympathizer, but I do understand why they're engaging with NATO, Ukraine, and I can see why they're going to retaliate in some harsh fashion for this attack on Russian soil. But who knows? Who knows exactly who did it? We don't know who did it. But we'll find out. Russia is a fascist dictatorship. Okay. This war is just perfect reason for NWO. Yeah, I mean, but the NWO has been here, my man or my woman, whoever you are on the other side of that screen. It's been here forever, bro. It's nothing new. Retaliate what? I'm behind on news. A Russian thought leader, a philosopher, very influential thinker in Russia, Alexander Drogin's daughter was killed in a car bombing, and that car bombing was meant for him. They switched cars at the last minute. So, yeah. And now to lighten the mood a little bit, uh, Dr. Fauci, that dude has resigned officially today. Not much more to talk about aside from he resigned. So that's cool. Oh, I heard about that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's cool. He's out of there. Nobody likes him. And hopefully he does nothing in medicine or science ever again. Not surprised he left. Me either. They handled Putin's propaganda. Okay, there's no Russia war. Uh, okay. What do you mean by that? This will introduce the real reason use for crypto, track everything, including people with chips. CNN fired Lemon and Acosta. Yeah, I know. And they fired. I don't know that they fired them. Actually, I can't say I know that. I knew Acosta, however the hell you pronounce his name. I didn't know Don Lemon, and that Brian Stelter guy or whatever. Uh, Black people keep saying this war alive. Our influencers in the BlackRock company. Okay, the Ukraine thing is a lie. You want to elaborate? I mean, I'm calling it the Russia-NATO war, if that's what you mean. According to Judge Nepotolano, I'm not sure how you pronounce his name, Russia will win. Yeah, I agree. He doesn't want to deal with. Yeah, nobody wants to deal with that, Nicole. Just get married. Just have a regular marriage, and you'll never have to worry about the monkey thing. Guaranteed, 100%. But let's talk a little bit about crypto, since now we're covered all the main news. Somebody in here, the 1-800. I farted. Jeez. The real reason for crypto is not to track everything you do. Is it a byproduct? Is it something that can be used to track what you do? Yes. Can you know who's doing the transactions? No, but you can know their private. I mean, you can know their public address, not their private wallet, not who actually owns it. So you can track where the money's going, who they're sending it to, etc. But they will never go cashless. If they go cashless, there's too many vulnerabilities. That's why I've never been afraid of this. Not never, but for a long time. No way this dude is in the CIA asset. Okay. I mean, this is why I've not been worried for quite some time about the cashless society, because it opens up too many attack vectors for the nation. So if the power grid goes down, take what took place in Canada recently, where their number one provider for like internet and telecommunications went down. Nobody could transact anything digitally. They couldn't get money out of their ATM. Companies couldn't get money. Governments couldn't get taxes in. They couldn't even get. They couldn't withdraw anything from the ATM. Crypto is not a scam. There's a lot of scams in cryptocurrency, but cryptocurrency itself is not a scam at all. It's just a new way to transfer money. And there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. It's actually, I think, a huge benefit. It's a total scam. No, it's not. It's 100% not. Because look at it this way. You have a bank that's your middleman. And so you have to pay them fees to keep your money there. You have to pay them fees to do transactions, etc. You have to go through them. You have large sums of money you want to transfer. They're going to report it to the IRS. They're going to make it difficult for you to get out money. I've had this experience at my bank, unless compromised. Yes. So, I've had this experience at my bank trying to withdraw X amount of dollars. Why are you withdrawing X amount of dollars? Well, because it's my money. It's so silly. But with crypto, you don't have to worry about any of it. NFTs will be useful in the future. I don't know. You can't buy crypto anonymously. You actually can, I believe. Crypto is IRS wet dream. No, not really. I mean, it's their worst nightmare. They don't even know how to do taxes. Tax people don't even know how to do the taxes. Thank you for always supporting Ukraine. Nobody's supporting Ukraine over here, fat dog, at Costco. No, we need a revolt. No, you don't. Yeah, that's not a solid reason to believe in crypto. It is to be able to transact without a middleman is really good. The opportunity to have decentralized financing. So we have a new financial system being established, and there's digital assets everywhere. Cryptocurrency is the currency for the digital age. Fact. I mean, you can be fearful of the metaverse, you can be fearful of virtual reality, augmented reality, etc. But it's coming, and it can be used for a lot of good. It's not just evil. How can one buy crypto anonymously? It'll be temporary. It's Crystal Pepsi. No, it's not temporary at all. It's already been here for 13 years. You have governments adopting it right now. It's not temporary. It's here to stay. Now, it may have a shorter lifespan than fiat currency, but it's definitely here to stay. What is socialist thing to say? We shouldn't revolt, but you should stay. But you should stay in free money. Cody, no. What a retarded thing to say that we should revolt, because you don't understand that that's exactly what the elite want you to do. That's exactly what the controllers want you to do, is revolt, because they would then establish the new order. Do you know anything about creating order out of chaos, my friend? Do you? Because that's exactly what they want. When you revolt, you create chaos. And then who comes in and creates order? Not you. Not you. If we were smart, we wouldn't. That's so silly. The Neil World Order podcast, that's the silliest thing you've ever said. If you did that, you would have no government, and then somebody else would come in and replace them. Tell that to George Washington? I would. I'm not for revolutions. I think that revolutions are evil. And we'd eliminate everyone involved in it. Yeah, that's the most silliest thing I ever heard. Because then you would have anarchy. And you know what happens in when anarchy emerges? The most violent gang wins and establishes order. But then you're going to go, I'm an anarcho-capitalist. Everybody, no non-aggression principle, non-aggression principle. Okay. You want people to send you money, and we shouldn't fight to protect ourselves. You know how you fight to protect yourselves? Why don't you read that? Build alternative systems. Cody, you're not okay with that. Do you make your own food? Do you have 10 friends nearby that will be willing to risk their lives for you to protect you? Literally, do you have that? Do you know where your food comes from? Do you know your farmer? Are you a farmer? Yes to what? So you know somebody who's going to, okay, so are you a farmer? Do you grow your own food? What? And even if that is the case, all right, so you know a farmer and you grow your own food. Awesome. I don't know that I believe you, because people who typically are of this mindset don't do that at all. All of it.
Cool. If that's the case, awesome. But I doubt it. Just saying, I kind of doubt it. Because anybody that wants that kind of thing is not somebody who's, self-sufficient enough to see the world for what it is. The system in place won't allow for an alternative system that's so naive. It's not naive. It's so naive of you to think that it wouldn't. And it's so historically ignorant of you to think that it wouldn't either. In the freaking Soviet Union, nobody knows this, and I have to tell them this every time. In the Soviet Union, you were literally allowed to have private property, and you could grow your own food on your own farm, and the government wouldn't take it from you. So you were allowed to build your alternative systems even in the Soviet Union. Cody, I own a business. Shit in one hand, wish in the other. Tell me which fills up first. You guys don't know anything about history. Difference between private and personal property, bud. Hey, Sibs, do you know anything? Favorite doctor? Dr. Fauci. Move to the highest mountain, small town you can find. LOL history. This guy doesn't even believe in history. History is definitely real. Is it subverted? Are there things that are lied about in history? Of course. I own 3. What's your point? Cody, that's awesome. If that's the case. Not a NATO war. It is a NATO war. Hoard silver. Silver's not bad to have. I'm so glad. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, that's my point. Like, don't revolt against the system. The system is evil. It's corrupted. It'll fall on its own. Work on building alternative systems while it collapses. That way, you can be relatively unscathed, and you will have a power structure already in place. A touch of Eden gardening pools and spas, LLC. Cool. What industry are you in? Commercial cleaning. I have a commercial cleaning business. How are you putting in a new system without revolting? Exactly. I mean, yeah, because you're not being the aggressor. What's the first step? Building a new system. What's the first step? Building a new system if in an apartment. Yeah, so for me, I help out my local farmer. Since I don't have my own property or anything yet, I help out my local farmer. I am doing productive things. I'm cleaning right now. Right on, man, right on. Provide goods and services for your local community. Make your own local supply chains. So not only do I help my local farmer, I mean, all my milk, eggs, not all of the eggs, but a good portion of the eggs, good portion of my meat, all come from the farmer that I help with. I do residential, commercial acreage and ranch property. Cool. I support my community at a bank. Okay. Raw milk. Yes, raw milk is exactly what we get. That's all we get. Meat, eggs, all that from the farm. And I provide a good service for my community. And then I'm working on building local supply chains. I'm a part of a community that is filled with homesteaders, bunch of skillful people that can do a lot, and it's decentralized. So that's how you would start building your own alternative system. You can even grow vegetables in your apartment. We grew vegetables for quite some time, but then we stopped because we're not really into vegetables. But look what happened to the Amish guy, though. The USDA undermined that guy, though. So what then? Yeah, well, there's a story like that in Ohio with raw milk where this Amish dude allowed somebody to take raw milk without doing the herd share, and it was basically a sting operation. Because in Ohio, you have to have a herd share to get raw milk or work on the farm, whatever. Live, work on the farm, etc. Oh my gosh, Brian, chill the hell out, dude. Just write your question again. He was selling meat and it was bad. I know, this is my point that I'm getting at, though, is that who knows what they weren't following, what laws they weren't following. And who knows if it was just ignorance, right? It probably was ignorance to the law. I'm not saying that I'm for it. I know that there's corruption. It could also just be the state too, right? I mean, Pennsylvania is very left-leaning. But typically speaking, they just don't come after you for no reason. They have to have a reason to come after you. So maybe be careful who you do business with, because there's going to be more to the story that we don't know. But I know exactly what you're talking about. I heard that story as well, and I knew people will freak out about it. But I think that there's a movement in reverse to bring raw milk and all this organic food back. I think Fauci just got sick on him. He's trying. If the economy collapses, it's because corrupt communist Biden regime made it happen. No, it's not. I mean, they help. So many conspiracies here. I still have a source for eggs, though. There you go. I mean, you can have chickens. You know, chickens aren't very hard to raise from what I hear, from what I see. Very low maintenance. If you have your own property, once again. You know, we talked about potentially getting chickens for our garage, but it's moronic to deny it. Brian, it's so many other things. Is the Biden administration helping? Of course, but they're not the main reason why. Keep calm, carry on, plant a garden, get to know your neighbors. That's right. I like that attitude. That's the right attitude to have. That's the best attitude to have. Become more self-sufficient. Become less reliant on the system. It's obvious they're causing it if you know economics. Hey, Brian, do you know Donald Trump printed more money than any president ever, and he got the country in more debt than any president ever, and Obama got more debt than any president before him? And I mean, come on, dude. There's so many. It's not just one administration. Factory dairy hates raw milk because it opens them to competition to small farming, pasteurizing money. Yeah, Dr. Oz is retiring. That's wrong. What's wrong? That Donald Trump printed more money than any president ever? Donnie, plead the fifth. Trump supporters think it's okay to espionage. They draw the line at mask. Well, I mean, I don't know that there's any evidence of espionage, and I tend to think that he's the one that orchestrated it. Everything leftists say about Trump. I'm not a leftist, bud. I'm probably more far right than you are. Fact. Unless you want a monarchy, and unless you want to reunite the church and the state, then we're both very far right. When the bank was warning of massive inflation, Trump was screaming, "Keep the printers going, 2019." Exactly. But for real, good relationships with your neighbors is so important to survival. Fact. This is no lie. No lies being said right there. You're communist, clearly. Clearly, I'm a communist. Clearly, I'm a commie. What doctor resigned? Fauci. You top slightly right of center. No, I mean, I want to bring back kings. I want to reunite the church and the state. People don't know about In-Q-Tel. Tell me free markets still exist. Importing cheap labor and exporting jobs been going on for decades and is bipartisan. Exactly, Michael. Exactly. Clinton and the Democrats leaked countless classified documents. That's pretty much espionage. They did. Democracy is a scam. We are like 1400 AD conservatives. Exactly. I mean, yeah, exactly. Democracy is a joke. I don't believe in it. Christian nationalist. I guess you can say that. are Christian and monarchist. That's exactly what they want. An autocracy with Trump as king for life based. Yeah. I don't want Trump as king for life, but I do want a king for life. I guess you hate freedom then? No, quite the opposite. We live in an oligarchy. Fact, we do, Wade. Fact. That's what it is. It's not an autocracy, it's an oligarchy. I do agree that they all printed too much, but when the reset comes, I would rather have Trump. The reset's already here. The reset's already taken place. All right? And this isn't the first reset. There was a great reset when Richard Nixon switched us from from gold-backed currency to fiat currency. There was a great reset during the Great Depression when FDR brought in the, New Deal. They don't want Trump to be king for life. They want him to be their God. Yeah, they do. Most of them do. Yeah, I agree with that. Democracy is not what we experience. Oligarchy. Yeah. In this day and age, moral men are complainers, not fighters. Well, how moral are they then if they're just complainers? If you're against democracy, you're against freedom, full stop. Brian, you have some of the most low IQ comments I've seen. It's an oligarchy under the guise of a democracy. Yeah, our guise of a republic would be more accurate, I think. Does any skill that can exchange for value quality as a trade? I think so. Because I think that trades, because this gets to the other point, right? Learn to trade. I think that trades are more than just democracy is barbaric. Fact. Winston Churchill, who I'm not a big fan of, said the biggest argument against democracies is talking to the average citizen for 5 minutes. Tell me one non-democracy society that was ever free. There's tons of them. Tons of them. Tons of them today. And what do you mean by free? Churchill was a monster, yeah. When the federal government spends the money, everything is more expensive. Yeah, so anyway, getting back to the trade. Everybody thinks about when you say a trade, mechanic, electrician, technician, plumber, roofer, contractor, carpenter, etc., which are trades. But I would argue that sales is a trade as well. So, it's a skill set that you have to learn, and it's extremely valuable. Everybody needs sales. Fact. You want to grow your business? You got to learn how to sell. You want to grow your business? You also have to learn how to market. Now, there's obviously other things involved in that too. What do you mean by free? How about free from being told what you have to do? Brian, everybody's told what they have to do. You're told that you have to pay your electricity bill or else the power gets turned off. You're told that you have to pay your mortgage bill or else your house gets taken away from you. Supporting local businesses boosts local trades. Fact. And so salesmanship is a very important trade. That's a choice. But you're told to. You don't understand. Dude, these arguments are so silly because I could literally say, well, in Saudi Arabia, where it's illegal to say the F word and curse Allah, well, I can say that they're not forcing you to do it, man. It's a choice. It's your choice whether or not you want to do it, but you'll just end up imprisoned by doing it. So silly. But you don't need electricity, though, like the Amish. Fact, you don't need electricity. I agree. If sales is a trade, then what about science? Well, it depends on what science. Is science really a trade? Or is that more of like I don't know, because sales is a profession. It's a career. I don't know. Like what they mean by like these technical, I don't know what the technical definition of what a trade is, but I'm just thinking like trades are something that require a skill set that bring value to the community and that are essential. Is science essential? I don't know that science is necessarily essential to live your life. I don't think that you need to be conducting science to live your life. I really don't. But if you want to grow businesses, you need sales. You also need to have a product or a service Engineering is definitely a trade. Sales is a liberal art of science. Amish use gas lights for night lighting. What? Well, yeah, I mean, there's ancient society. I mean, you don't actually need science to live, like fact. Fact. I mean, you can make the argument that you're always doing science or math. Science is needed. The ability to problem solve is what engineering is. Yeah, nobody's saying anything about engineering. I've never once said anything about engineering. Science is fundamentally a way of thinking. Well, I mean, you can conduct the scientific method, yes, and you can say that like everything we do involves mathematics and science down to our physiology and our movement. But as far as like, do I need to conduct? I don't know. I guess so. I guess I'll take that back because I was thinking like primitive, like hunter gatherers. You know, they would have to do some type of some type of scientific method to establish good techniques, the best techniques for trapping and hunting certain animals. So I take that back. I guess you would need science all the way around. Yeah. The platform that you took on science to create, you're just short-sighted and willing to move backwards. Okay. You realize Russia and NATO are in war. Hey, I don't think you realize what's going on. So industrial engineer here for reference. It's the ability to get people to work together effectively. Yeah. Yes, caveman would need science to, yeah. Yeah, so I take back my statement, all right? I take it back. I'm going live here. I'm on the cuff. I have no teleprompters. I'm just going. I have no script. I'm just going. You know, I'm thinking on the fly here. And obviously, science is needed. I take it back. It's all good. Nobody get all triggered here. All you engineers and you scientists, relax. You're needed. Not trying to badmouth you, man. Just trying to add to the discussion. No, I get it, Christopher. I get it. It's all good, man. No, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Michael. Build alternative systems. What? Yeah. No, and I thank you for the input, because it's good to be able to have these discussions. Not triggered, just called out when I see it. Fine. Fair enough. I'm Ukrainian, sir. Just an FYI. Okay. Your country is a puppet country to NATO in the West. And that's okay because there's plenty of puppet countries around the world. I mean, I don't mean that offensively or in a pejorative way. I mean, it is what it is. Just curious about your opinion. My opinion on what? Miller's Genuine Art. Art, illustration, commentary. Interesting. So, let's see. Everything you're saying is from the Russia propaganda playbook. Okay. Why the big city one? Because they're going to shit. Free market capitalism is inherently deflationary. I don't know that that's true. I mean, you might be right, but I don't know that that's true. I call it Biden crane. So are you pro-Russia invasion? Yeah, I think that they did the right thing. Do we even bother taking our money, put it over the banks, put it in the banks? Is that what you meant to say? Out of the bank. Taking our money out of the bank. Oh, I didn't. Okay. I think it was a massive strategic blunder considering the outcome. By who? I mean, there's a lot of reasons Russia is taking forever to just win. Wow, you support war criminals? You do too. If you're supporting Ukraine, I mean, your country was like offing a bunch of Russians in the eastern half of the state. So you support bombing civilian targets and war crimes? No, I don't. That's very silly. As far as I know, there is no Russian military bombing citizens. As far as I know, the Ukrainians are actually using them as shields. Okay. Whatever you say. Without government interference, taking the TV, they get better and cheaper. I don't know. More European countries are joining NATO. Isn't that what Putin's scared of? More countries are joining BRICS. Why is America a person pushing Russian propaganda? I'm baffled. Because I'm a free thinker, as they call it, and I'm not pushing propaganda. If Ukraine was winning, I'd have no issue saying that Ukraine was winning, but Ukraine's like 1,000 people a day are dying. They just implemented martial law. Nobody can leave. No military-age fighting men can leave the country. What else? They're using human shields, allegedly, in Donbass and other regions. Everything you said is literally propaganda. There's so many news sites that are saying these things outside of Russia. We may have a U.S. base about 50 miles from Moscow soon. Is that good for Russia? Not good for Russia at all. That's horrible for Russia. And I doubt that. I don't know that Russia will allow that. And I think that you're just posing a hypothetical. I've heard nothing of the kind happening at all. I watch Russian, American, and Ukrainian news. Okay. So your argument is I'm listening to Russian propaganda, but I could literally say that you're listening to Ukrainian propaganda. Who cares about Finland? Keep standing with Putin. Okay. Russia lost economic power and credibility in the world. No, they did not. No, they did not. That's a silly comment. Look at their relationship with Saudi Arabia. Their relationship with China. The relationship with Iran. More and more countries are wanting to join BRICS. Ukraine bragged about kids helping to make Molotov cocktails and show. Yeah, I mean, look at this. How do you see the United Nations meetings? How so? Did you see the United Nations meetings? No. What are you talking about? Russian invaded ethnic Russian land is morally superior to U.S. destroying. I agree with that as well. Dude, you're a Trump supporter. Oh, my God. Oh, you know what I think she is? I think that she's one of the – because Ukraine is now having bots go out. Fact. This is 100% fact. They're now having bots go out to anybody who's talking about pro-Russian narratives, and they're trying to, like, dissuade and provoke, them into responding. So I'm just going to ignore you. Oh, maybe she's not a bot. She's definitely not a bot. We'll see. I don't know. Maybe the AI is very advanced. What's going on? I'm sorry?
Why would you think I'm a bot?
Yeah, I already listed the reason why.
Wait, tell me this. Please tell me where you get your news.
Yeah, I get it from a lot of sources, similar to you.
Give me a couple sources.
I'm not it doesn't even matter.
Or anything. I'm curious because I wonder what your. It's hard for me to believe that you would or anyone in America would support a dictator like him. You know.
I don't think that he's a I don't think that he's a dictator. I mean, Zelensky is literally imprisoning people for going against his regime. There's a YouTuber I follow. His name is Gonzalez Libra. He's a big YouTuber. He covers a lot of news and stuff. He's actually in Ukraine, and he was interrogated by the Ukrainian police for talking objectively about what's happening in Ukraine. Fact. So there's a bunch of other people.
Russia spends billions of dollars on propaganda. Do you know how to geolocate?
What does this have to do with anything?
Like, okay, because I've been on this hunt for, all these propaganda videos, and they're talking about, oh yeah, we're here in Ukraine doing this or that, in an area where it doesn't even look like the actual area. So I geolocate.
Okay.
Okay, and a lot of the movies they film are from Russia. They're propaganda films and videos. Just take it with just.
I'm with you. I don't think that we're in Mars, lady. I think that they're shooting footage in Greenland, lying to us that we're in Mars. I'm all with you. I know that they can fake footage. I'm talking about the fact that you said that they can fake footage and show that they're somewhere else, claim that they're somewhere else, but they're actually in another location. That was my example. That, hey, I'm totally with you. I know that they can do that. It happens. 100%.
I'm like, here's the thing. I knew that there are people like you out there, but I've never spoken with one. That's why I'm kind of baffled. No,
I am literally the most. I'm trying to be the most objective as possible when it comes to this war. I don't care. I think Russia is not. I think that Russia is not this great country. I don't think Putin is this awesome, great leader. I don't really care. It doesn't affect my life directly at the moment. It could eventually, but it doesn't right now. If Ukraine was winning the war, if all my sources of everything that I'm seeing said Ukraine was winning the war, I'd have no issue coming on here saying Ukraine's winning the war. Ukraine's winning the war, but they're not. I mean, the only sources that are pushing that out, have been caught lying time after time after time about the Ukrainian narrative. It's all started with the ghost of Kiev. The ghost of Kiev,
my God,
total
sir,
lie. And then you have.
You're not objective. This is crazy.
I am.
Literally.
I'm totally objective.
Can you give me like 5 minutes to speak? Because I actually, not 5 minutes, but a couple minutes, because I actually know everything that you're saying because it's literally propaganda and they are winning.
What I'm telling you that what you're pushing is propaganda.
No, I have family there.
I know people that I know Russians. I know people that the place where I live, there's a lot of Eastern Europeans, all right? A lot of Eastern Europeans, a lot of Ukrainians, a lot of Russians.
Okay. Where do you live?
I live in Ohio. And there's a lot, not far away from where I live, but there's a huge community. I mean, there's huge, beautiful Ukrainian Orthodox churches here. It's beautiful. I love their.
Can you give me 2 minutes to speak? Just 2 minutes. Have you ever heard of the Freedom Index?
Yes.
It's like, okay. Do you know, like, it tells you where the most, like, the freest media is, where they don't, cover shit up or whatever. And Russia is really high up on that list. Out of 180 countries, they're like 166, 168.
Okay.
If you do me a favor, like I'm all worked up. I'm sorry. The countries like Sweden and Norway, they're all at the very bottom, so they have like the most unbiased media. Like they'll show you everything. I'm dead serious. Take some time.
No, you're not. You're very programmed. It's all right though.
No, listen. No, I'm telling you. You don't understand how much research I've been doing for the past 6 months. Do me a favor and watch other news channels.
You don't even know what I watch. You don't even know what I watch.
YouTube.
I said one YouTube channel.
And literally everything that you said, I've already heard it from people before, and it really.
Everything.
You guys are like robots.
Everything you're saying is like robotic. I'm actually bringing something outside of the mainstream narrative. 100%.
I haven't said anything about the damn war. All I've been saying, we've been talking about propaganda. And here's another thing. Do you believe that Trump has been in Putin's pocket for years?
No, I don't believe that. I don't know that there's any proof there hasn't been. No, that is not a fact. Oh my God. You sound like a robot too.
Dude, no, this is real.
Hey, no, you know who Michael Nance is? You know that reporter on MSNBC who comes on? He's a war veteran, Michael Nance.
No, I don't watch it.
Or Malcolm Nance, or whatever his name is. He's pretty big on Twitter. Well, he and I got into a Twitter debate years ago. And he literally sent me a picture of a spider web with Putin, a bunch of question marks, and then leading back to Trump. Literally, there was no real links, and it's all been proven not true. I mean, it could be, and they're just hiding dark money. I'm not saying that it's out of the possibility. I'm not even a Trump supporter. I think that Trump is a betrayer. I think that Trump is a
there's people in prison for interfering with the voting and the Russian hacks. This is real. This really actually happened.
Yeah.
And there's also
Do you know the United States hacks countries' elections all the time?
Yeah.
Do you know?
I'm not saying
Ukraine doesn't allow certain people to run.
Dude, Ukraine has had 6 presidents since the end of the Soviet Union.
The United States overthrew the Ukrainian government in 2004. Color revolutions.
What the fuck are you talking about? Okay, you're far gone.
2014. 2014.
Dude, no.
Color revolution.
No, the Maidan. No, that's not what happened. The United States barely got involved. Obama didn't want to send troops there. Obama didn't want to send artillery there. They didn't want to get involved because they don't want to fight with Russia. So you know what they did? They gave them money to train the army, and that's why the army is so badass now.
The army's not badass. What are you talking about?
You don't think the army's good?
The army in Ukraine, they're getting their ass kicked.
Okay, dude. No.
Russia's not. Do you understand? Listen to this. You know how insane you sound? Russia, China, and India are literally conducting military drills in Russia this month.
Honey, they do that every year.
No, listen.
Yeah,
But no, hang on. But this is the point I'm making. If Russia was getting their ass kicked, why in the hell would they be having a large portion of their military doing drills with foreign nations? They're not even using Russian military, really. They're using militia in Donbass with a few military members, maybe a few thousand, couple 10,000, a few 10,000.
This is all Russian propaganda. Dude, Ukraine took back Crimea. They almost took back all of Kherson. The offensive. Oh my God, you really don't have that news. Dude,
oh my gosh.
Also, please, that's why I asked you, please look at some other news sources.
This is very true. Russia is using small percentage of their military. Lady, I'm listening to everything.
Their military is dead.
No, they're not.
What are you talking about? Yes.
That's a lie. Did you just say half of their military is dead?
Half of the soldiers that went there are unalive. Yes.
Oh my God, you're so silly.
Oh my God.
Watch Fox News. They are the best. I don't like Fox News at all. I don't like CNN. I like to read Zero Hedge. Zero Hedge has a lot of good articles, a lot of good compilation of sharing posts from other sites.
Let me see how much news you get. Who passed away yesterday?
Alexandra Drogan's daughter.
Okay, good.
But you're also, that's also the vaguest question ever. Literally, so many people died yesterday.
I'm just trying to see what kind, if you're getting the daily. And you know what? That means that somebody in Putin's inner circle has had enough.
Oh my gosh. Or it was Ukraine. Or it was the CIA.
Russia is not winning.
I mean, listen, look at. This is how stupid the narrative is that's coming out of Ukraine. Anybody with half of a brain could literally deduce this. It's so simple. So Ukraine is blaming Russia for attacking this nuclear plant. I can't pronounce it, but it starts with a Z word. It starts with a Z.
Zaporizhzhia.
They're saying, Russia is attacking this plant. But then they go around and say, hang on, Russia is firing from the plant. So anybody that can do simple logic would say, therefore, Ukraine is actually attacking the plant. They would have to be logically the ones aiming and firing at the plant. If Russia's shooting from the plant, therefore Ukraine must be shooting at the plant.
Listen, do you know what a false flag is?
I do, and Ukraine's been doing them like crazy.
That's
Russia does them. Russia does them.
Listen,
the United States does them. The United States is the king at them.
Sir,
World War II,
sir.
prime example.
Can you let me talk? Come on, let me talk. Just let me talk for a minute. You're talking over me because I already know your whole story. You are legit. Everything that I'm saying, you are saying the complete complete opposite. And that's how their propaganda works. They take bits and pieces of information and they stick their own narrative in it and make a bullshit sandwich. You need to look at other news sources.
Like who?
How can you say they're losing?
Like who?
Like I said, look at all of them. Look
Who?
at Reuters. Look, NPR. Right
Yeah.
now, go to.
Oh my gosh! Do you know Bill Gates donated like millions of dollars to NPR? The Rockefeller Foundation donates billions of.
Go to BBC, just something that you've never looked at before.
Lady, I was a daily NPR listener. You're listening to somebody who was a daily NPR listener.
Oh my God.
Daily.
Okay. You literally only have Russian propaganda. I'm shocked. You're like a really nice guy.
So Zero Hedge. Hang on. So Zero Hedge is Russian propaganda.
Zero Hedge?
Yeah.
What the fuck is that?
It's exactly the gray zone. That's Russian propaganda.
Probably. But listen, can you do me a favor? Do you have Google?
Yeah, I do have Google.
Do not, first of all, don't use DuckDuckGo, okay? Please tell me.
You have to be a troll. You have to be a troll.
So first I'm a bot, now I'm a troll. You're insulting my intelligence. Listen, do me a favor and just Google Ukraine war and see what pops up.
Oh my God. Woman, do you know what astroturfing is?
Golfing? I don't know.
Dude, they literally subvert the search engine.
Yeah, I know. Okay, fine. Open up another search engine that you never go to.
Like DuckDuckGo.
Fuck, no, because that's all right-leaned, or whatever you call it.
Who's the real bias here?
Open up another search engine.
Who's the real bias?
Pretty please with the cherry on top. I don't care, any of them. Like, go, okay. Type in your search engine. If not Google, do Bing.
Why? Bill Gates owns Bing.
Who?
Bill Gates. That's Microsoft.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Then go to fucking Google. They use 50,000 sources. Do me a favor.
Why?
Ukraine news. I want you to just go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
Ukraine news.
I read a lot of news every day. Like literally, I probably read.
For me, I know.
No, I'm not going to do it for you. I'm not going to do it for you. Okay, I'm not going to do it for you. It's all right. I'm not going to do it for you. I'm not going to please you.
You're scared.
I'm very scared of a woman like you. 100%. You're a very strong, independent woman, and it's just radiating from the screen, and I'm shaking in my pants right now. I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do.
Let me just say this. What's your name?
My name is right there, Luis Acevedo.
Oh, I only see Mott.
Yeah, it's on the green screen.
Oh, what? Oh, okay. Well, Luis, I'm Karina. Nice to meet you. But listen, all I ask is that you please look at some news sources that you don't normally look at.
All I ask is that you do the same.
I already do.
How do you know that I don't? How do you know that I don't?
Russian TV.
How do you know that I don't?
You don't. Because you don't speak Russian.
Oh my gosh.
А ты говоришь по-русски, а ты говоришь по-украински. Нет, ты не говоришь по-украински. I do. I watch it and it's fucking bunk.
I can. Your arguments are so illogical. I can literally turn on my CNN news and they're speaking English, and I can be like, "Wow, their information is bunk." I can turn on Fox News and be like, "I understand English, but their information is bunk." Like that's your logic.
Here, I'm trying to do you a favor because you're out here on the live. You're giving people information. People are coming. You're giving people mittens.
Here it comes. Misinformation. Propagandist.
Yes, everything you
tool. You're a tool.
Russia, they're actually telling their people that they're winning and all this bullshit, and they're losing miserably. 30 what are the top military people, what are they called?
I don't know. You're the one that's so informed and knowledge. The ranks. There's many ranks. You're pushing misinformation now. You're saying that the ranks are the top ones, but ranks are ranks. They're not a level.
Sergeant.
I don't know. You sound like you're spreading misinformation right now.
What are they called?
I don't know, but you sound like you're spreading misinformation. So can you please do some homework before you talk on my stream?
You want me to go? Are you offended? I'm trying
not.
to do you a favor.
No, I think this is humorous. It's very rare. It's very rare that I get to speak with somebody outside of my real, like in my real world, I surround myself with a lot of sane people. And so it's very entertaining when I get to talk to somebody who's outside of my real world. And then I see that they're so programmed and brainwashed. It's interesting.
I'm not programmed, you are. Okay, how about this?
We all are. I mean, hey, to be really fair, we all are programmed on some level, right? We can never get out of programming.
Let's make a deal, okay? How about this? I'll follow you. Okay, and then in a month from now, or whenever the war ends and all the real information comes out, because Russia's gonna collapse.
Is that why the ruble's going ham right now? Is that why Europe's in an energy crisis right now?
Oh my God! Have you ever heard of artificial inflation? That's what the fuck he was doing.
No, you're so dumb because they're actually experiencing deflation in their dollar because it's getting stronger. It's getting stronger. Dollars get stronger with deflation.
Oh my God, dude! I know. Don't even talk to me about the ruble. Let me take a deep breath and I'll talk to you again in a second. I need yoga in this bitch.
Oh my God. She's great. She was great, but I'm done with it. She's definitely a troll. Oh, Russia is going to collapse. I mean, there's no way she wasn't a troll. If she wasn't a troll, then I've literally interacted with a real life NPC. That was great. Russia's stock market closed. I live in Michigan. Okay. I'm originally from Michigan. Putin is hot, just admit it. 6 months stock market is closed in Russia. Noise, same, moving back. Right on. Bots don't live in Michigan. Bots' lives matter, guys. That's the real BLM. Bots' lives matter. But proud troll. There you go. All right, guys. Well, that's going to be it for me today. I hope you enjoyed the stream. Be sure to subscribe to everything MOT News, MOT Media, and MOT Today 1 is the other platform, is the other TikTok. MOT News, Bot Supremacy. MOT 1, MOT Today 1, MOT News, MOT Media, MOT Sports, and MOT_Ohio if you're interested in Ohio news. We got a whole channel dedicated to that. So much love. Peace.